Honorable guest speaker, Most Reverend Matthias Kobina Nketiah, Emeritus Archbishop of Cape Coast, Reverend Fathers, distinguished guests, all protocol observed. My name is Nana Ahwoi, a proud graduate of Holy Child School, HOPSA 99-year group. What a remarkable audience we have here today. I would first like to applaud my sisters, the Red Ladies of HOPSA 99-year group. Now, I need to have all of you understand what the R and the E and the D in HOPSA Red Ladies, what that means. So you'll get some assistance from the crew over there. So R stands for, and the E, and the D. I tell you, you will not find a year group like HOPSA 99. One of a kind, one of a kind. And when I tell you that these attributes have been lived by our year group, there's none other. Throughout the planning, the fundraising, awareness efforts, the group lived our motto of actions. That's right. Let's give them a resounding round of applause for everything they've done. So before I begin my remarks, I did want us to begin with an exercise. So think about your proudest moment. When did it happen? What did you do? Who was with you when it happened? So I cycled a bit on my remarks on what I wanted to say, because 25 years, what kind of demand? I mean, it's overwhelming. A lot has happened in 25 years since graduating from Holy Child. And my proudest moments have really been spurred by many lessons, but I would keep you here all day if I decided to go through every one of them. So I just did 3. There's 3 lessons I'll share with you all today. So the first is to be curious and pursue lifelong learning. My mother, Mrs. Nana Ahwoi, she's here with us today. Mama Yeye, Chobia, She's the poster child for this lesson. You cannot find anyone on this planet who reads more than my mother. She's a ferocious reader, and she constantly reminds those around her that knowledge, what you have in your head, right, is the one thing that no one can take away. Her mother, my grandmother, of blessed memory, hailed from this very Cape Coast. She didn't have the opportunity to go to school, and so in addition to the life lessons she shared with me and my siblings, she encouraged all of us to take our schooling very, very seriously. I remember my path to Holy Child like it was yesterday. I passed my BECE, so for those who don't know what that is, the Basic Education Certificate exams, with flying colors, and I landed a fantastic placement at my senior secondary school of choice, Holy Child School, where I chose to study business accounting as my elective. Now, mind you, as the 4th of 7 children, I did say 7, 4th of 7, my 3 older siblings had also gone to boarding schools. My 2 older sisters went to St. Rose's, popularly known as Rosec. My one and only brother, he was surrounded by 6 women, a proud graduate of none other than St. Augustine's College. So shout out to all the Absunians in the house. And when I asked my parents how we got all split up into all these schools, except for the obvious one, my brother couldn't come to Holy Child, else I think he would have. They told me it was driven in part by a desire to democratize, this was the word they used, democratize our experiences, as the alternative would have been for all 6 girls to have gone to the same school and had the same experiences. So they split us up. The first 2, St. Rose's. The next 2, Holy Child. So my sister will probably be around here in a couple years. And who wants to guess where the last 2 went to? Wesley Girls. But they're okay. I love them still. My interest in business accounting had been fueled throughout my life. It was really spurred on by 2 people in particular. The first was my dad, Ambassador Kwesi Ahwoi. Dada Mpocho, Chiobia Mamai. Who I observed traveling around the world in his capacity as the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotion Council, the Ghana Trade Fair Authority, and the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. I was fascinated by the story he told when he came back from his travels regarding the exposure he had, the people he met, Izibanozi, the food he ate, and the cultures he experienced, the contacts he established, and he wrote some of the most comprehensive reports back to the establishments that he worked with. The other individual was my African American aunt, Cindy Barnes. She's an aunt not by blood relation, but by virtue of a relationship with my parents. They had forged this with another African American aunt, Vina Darko, as both were members of the U.S. Peace Corps who taught here in Cape Coast. So the relationship here with Cape goes way back. The relationship between my parents and Aunt Vina was so close that a rite of passage they established was for all of us children after graduating from JSS, or junior secondary school, or junior high school, as y'all call it today. Each child will be sent to Houston, Texas, in the United States of America, to spend a few months with Aunt Vina, and by extension, my Aunt Cindy. Aunt Cindy is a certified public accountant, which is the equivalent of a chartered accountant. She and her business partner, another CPA, they own an accounting firm in Texas. Given my young age, my aunts were very surprised because I would say, can I visit Aunt Cindy's office? And they're thinking, what does a 15-year-old want to go do at a CPA firm? But I wanted to understand what my Aunt Cindy did. I even asked to help her at her office, and I completed some of the required documentation, and I loved it. So upon returning to Ghana, when asked to select my area of focus for high school, of course I gladly stated I was going to do business accounting. So my curiosity continued into Holy Child School and has remained a theme throughout my entire life. I knew I wanted to pursue business accounting beyond Holy Child. So in speaking with my parents, I decided I would opt into the elective math course as part of my curriculum. How many people here are taking elective math as part of your curriculum? Holy Child girls? Oh, a handful. Oh, yes, and Papa. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It stretched my capacity even further. It meant I needed to study more time studying. But I can credit this path to my very strong scores in the math section of my Scholastic Aptitude Test, which is the SAT. It is these scores that earned me a scholarship, charting my path to study at Luther College in the United States. While there, I decided management information systems would be my second major because, 1999, everybody thought everything was going to shut down in 2000 because the computers were going to explode. But I saw that technology was becoming more prevalent in the business world. And while, again, this meant I had to do more work, I was undeterred. And it contributed to how I landed my internship at Ernst & Young. My curiosity and openness to new opportunities and learnings have charted new paths, some of which I didn't know I would be on, including my path to cybersecurity. So indeed, knowledge and learning is not bound by the buildings. It's not bound by the fresh air that we breathe. Similar to what I saw with my dad, I've been fortunate to experience that today. I've met many new people. I've experienced many new cultures. I've learned new ideas, which has allowed me to expand my perspective. So my sisters, what's now, getting ready to graduate, and those who just arrived, check printers. And here's what I would say to you. Learn to stay curious, ask questions, try new things, and don't let the fear of the unknown deter you from learning something new. Because beyond the walls of the classroom, education is an expansive journey. It takes place every day, in every experience, with every person that we meet. I'll keep going. My second lesson, it brings me back to the first day of school. Who remembers their first day of school? It was boarding school. I tell you, I was sitting in the car, very apprehensive about what the future held. We got to Angels Hill. Seniors, they were yelling, making it known that our fresh selves were in for a treat. And once the visitors left, they made good on that call out. So this second lesson is to live a life anchored in your purpose, pay it forward, demonstrating compassion and empathy. So during my first year, many of my Hobson 99 Pocho, they would wake us up with random wake-up calls in the middle of the night. What's the best song? Dancing on demand, morning and evening requests to fetch water from the farm. Stairs, 100+ steps up and down. I see you nodding. What about still? With the water fetching requests, I was happiest when I was summoned by a senior with a very small bucket. My mates and I quickly realized that we were stronger together. So we formed groups. To ease the burden of the water fetching, we would take turns supporting each other with the buckets of water. And sometimes we'd wake up very early in the morning. We would take our bath, sometimes in the very buckets that our seniors told us to go fetch water in. This was us looking out for one another. During my days at Holy Child, I also looked for opportunities to mentor our junior students. Sharing what I knew about boarding life, the teachers, the tips. I see Mr. Day is still here, by the way. Sharing what I knew about boarding life, the teachers, tips for success, lending an ear for the anxiousness that did come in from time to time, and providing any support that was needed. Among my near group, Hopsa 99, Red Ladies, we would form study groups because sometimes prepping, we might find ourselves napping. So often in violation of lights out rules, we would wake each other up in the middle of the night or early in the morning to study, especially when we had exams. So the nature of the relationships I have today is a testament to the power of focusing on the needs of others first, seeking to understand their experiences, and asking a simple question: how can I help? The impact of this approach is beyond measure and pays dividends in unexpected ways. So my third and final lesson, it enjoins us to take courage, have the courage to take initiative and blaze new trails. Seize every opportunity you have to challenge yourself, no matter how daunting. It is said that if you want something you have never had, you'll have to do something you've never done. So growing up, I was often characterized as a tomboy. So it was only natural that I would try my hands out at some sports while at Holy Child. So I decided I would do hurdles. Now there's no height to be found. I have heels on today, so I have a couple of extra inches. But I decided to do it anyway. And I surprised everybody, including myself and our coach, Mrs. Damesi, who was our coach at the time, by doing quite well. I had a nemesis in another Cape school, which I will not mention. And we both qualified for hurdles in the inter-schools and again at regionals. I was one of the top athletes that qualified for finals at regionals. Thank you, yes. And I made it onto the top 4 finishers. And I continued on, so I didn't end at Holy Child. I ran at Luther as well. And I think I ran the second fastest time in the 55 meters. I took the hurdles out of the way. I go faster with nothing in my way. So, and it still stands, almost 20 years later, the second fastest time in the history of Luther. So this is a testament to the fact that nothing cannot be overcome with determination and doing the work. Another example of taking initiative and blazing new trails was highlighted in the introduction you just heard. And it's kind of odd when you listen to someone talking about you. I'm like, who are they talking about? But it's me. So during my prior 2 years at Holy Child, I experienced a decent entertainment lineup. But in my last year, after being selected as entertainment prefect, I decided I needed to put my mark on the experience. So I thought up the idea of asking for contributions from the students to fund our entertainment activities throughout the year. I created a pitch as to why we needed our own entertainment system. We brought this to our then headmistress and assistant headmistress, Mrs. Ajiman, who's here with us today, and Mrs. Nyako of blessed memory, and won their support. Now, I rallied our girls at the time to pay 5,000 old Ghana cedis a term to fund more interesting entertainment activities and to secure the school's first entertainment systems, which saved us a lot of money because we didn't have to rent an entertainment system every time. Now, it came with a nickname. I got branded the tax collector because as much as people tried to run away from me, I always ended up getting their contributions because they wanted the better entertainment after all. So in each of these examples, no one came up to me and said, go do these things. I took the initiative, and more importantly, I followed through on what I said I was going to do. To the future leaders in the crowd here today, as I mentioned before, seize every opportunity to influence your future. Ladies and gentlemen, my experiences at Holy Child are a key part of who I am today. Today, as a consulting partner at Ernst & Young, I continue to thrive as part of a firm with clearly stated values about who we are. And I'll share what the EY values are with all of you because I love them. It's really core and dear to me. So we are people who demonstrate integrity, respect, teaming, and inclusiveness. We are people with energy. Red ladies, what's your energy? People with energy, enthusiasm, and the courage to lead. And we are people who build relationships based off of doing the right thing. I can attribute my success in part to the Holy Child's strong foundation and the continued alignment of these values with my now 19 plus years at Ernst & Young. So in closing, let me say this. As we celebrate today's achievements, let us look forward with anticipation to the future. A future where each and every one of us, empowered by our education and experiences, will make significant contributions to our society because we are not just the future of the world. We are its present and we are its hope. So, to the young women before me, as you step out into the world, carry these lessons with you because the journey ahead will certainly be filled with challenges. But within each and every one of you lies the potential to overcome, to excel, and to lead. Remember to be curious and pursue lifelong learning. Live a life anchored in your purpose. Pay it forward, demonstrating passion, compassion, and empathy. And have the courage to take the initiative to blaze new trails. The path ahead is yours to shape, and I have no doubt at all, that you will carve it with grace, like a woman of substance, right? A woman of substance, default into action with tremendous grace, dignity, and strength. So anchored on the solid foundation of God and the values of Holy Child Jesus, and our motto of actions. Actions. Similar to the everlasting nature of the sun, your lights will not be dimmed. Know that you can do anything, you can be anything, and there's nothing you cannot accomplish. I can't wait to come back to this very hill. Now we're at the bottom of the hill today, but this very hill in the future to celebrate the accomplishments of our women of substance. So may your paths ever be guided by the light of knowledge, the warmth of community, and the courage to dream big. Actions. Thank you very much.